Okay, I wonder if you can hear me. I think it's been so long. Since I went live, my microphone thought we were completely retired. So, if you can hear me, will you please put a 1? All right. I'm a little hesitant to get started just because I don't think you guys are hearing me. Can you hear me now? Bueller? 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 Good morning, very early morning it is, February the 23rd, 4 a.m. And you don't have to ask. Yes, I'm dealing with insomnia again and frustrated with the world, actually. So, things have been a little, well, things are just not good right now, but they'll get better, right? It's a temporary thing. Okay. So I find this information that's coming out about Debbie Collier absolutely fascinating. Completely just unbelievable. Now, our channel, our community, we've actually covered this Debbie Collier thing in depth, right? I don't really follow the cases that make it big and everybody else is talking about. I try really to focus hard and do deep dives on those things that for some reason they, have some kind of personal significance to me. And I felt like with the Debbie Collier case, there was a lot of information that seemed uncomfortable, wonky, strange. For example, we were given video of the crime scene, or not crime scene, because they ultimately ruled it a suicide. But we were given video of this really odd location. It kind of looked like a peaceful forest, opening, and not particularly difficult terrain. But the reality is very difficult terrain, and she was not the area for which all this played out was actually quite extended. There were multiple locations of burning, and there was multiple location of personal items of hers, and ultimately ending up with her being in the bottom of a damn ravine, hanging on to a tree that was like 4 inches in diameter. It's crazy. It's crazy. And so, in the beginning, we were watching this and we were thinking, well, of course this is some kind of foul play. I mean, the strangeness of her daughter and husband, and how she goes missing, and she drives an hour north of where she lives for no apparent reason at all. She gets caught on security camera at the dollar store, and everybody looks at her and says, that is not the same woman. Her own son said, I don't believe that's my mom. And yet, the GBI comes out and says, nothing to see here. Just move along. It was all just the most bizarre, unlikely suicide imaginable. And that's what we were told. We even had a YouTube channel that kind of got in on it, and they interviewed the daughter, Amanda Bearden. And for a lot of people, Amanda Bearden was sort of a potential suspect. If you go back in my videos and you look up Amanda Bearden, Jewels of Thought, or Amanda Bearden Allegedly Innocent, then you'll find, these videos that I did talking about the interview and the unusual manner of many of her responses. So we're just told, no, everything's fine, don't worry, move along, no, nothing bad happened, no trauma, everything's fine. The son is asking and begging and pleading for help. He even takes to YouTube, Facebook, the social media platforms, and says, please, people, talk about this, don't let this go by the wayside, because I'm not getting any cooperation from the investigators. They're wanting to sweep this under the rug. And they did, I think. I think they accomplished it. Well, now we've got new information coming out. And part of the reason that we have new information coming out is because New York City chief medical, a former New York City chief medical examiner got his hands on the autopsy. And he's now speaking out. And that is Dr. Michael Baden, which a lot of people are really, familiar with. He's, kind of considered a talking head on television. But he has been pretty forthright in saying, after reading this, it is very likely that this woman was murdered. Not that she killed herself as the GBI and the local authorities claimed. He said after reviewing the autopsy that he's got some serious questions about how law enforcement arrived at the decision to even call this suicide. Now, initially, they claimed that it was suicide because she did not inhale soot or carbon monoxide from the fire that burned her. She is burned, right? Now, initially they said she had some burns on her abdomen. Now we know, no, she was burned 80-90% of her body. Listen, that type of burn is, you don't survive a 90% total body surface burn. You don't survive it. With the dramatic advancements in medical care, and literally months, and I mean going into hundreds of days of intensive, like actual intensive care, many surgeries, multiple weekly, every third day or so, undergoing excruciating bath where they have to remove the dead skin. This, even for a 60% total body surface burn, maybe 70%, it's survivable, but this is, you don't go home in 30 days. We're talking about a year of in hospital work, physical rehabilitation services, possible amputations, figuring out how to, learn to walk with prosthetics, or how do you get dressed, how do you feed yourself. But to have 90% total body surface burn, no, not survivable. Not even in today's amazing technological medical advances. Not possible. So we were even misled even about the extent of her injuries, the condition of her body and how she was found. We were misled. Oh, she had some burns on her abdomen. Really? 90% total body surface? That's not sunburns on your abdomen. So they made this claim that she didn't inhale soot or the carbon monoxide. Well, how do you kill yourself? And if you burn yourself accidentally or on purpose or whatever, then how does that happen? And it's part of suicide. It didn't make any sense. But at this point now, it certainly doesn't make any sense, because she's got 90% total body surface burns, and she had no burn internally. Her lungs did not have any evidence of this. And you say, well, why does that matter? Well, one of the reasons it matters is this. Let's say, basically she was dead before the fire. If she didn't have any soot, or she didn't inhale any hot air or gases that would have burned, the lining of her lungs, how did that happen unless she's dead? She's already dead when the fire happens, correct? If someone dies in a fire, there will be evidence of that experience internally. The inside of their mouth can be burned, their larynx, the esophagus can be badly damaged, blistered, even worse sometimes. And then you get black soot. Literally, the lungs have deposits of black soot inside of them. She had none of that. She had none of that, and 90% total body surface burn. This isn't a mistake, people. So, how is it that the GBI arrived at this declaration that Debbie Collier committed suicide? That Debbie Collier died from, and I quote, inhalation of superheated gases, thermal injuries, i.e. burns, thermal injuries, and a hydrocodone intoxication. They speculate she died in a flash fire because there was a gas can nearby. Really? That's what you decided? You decided a woman who has had total body surface burns of 90%, no soot in her lungs, no burn damage to her esophagus or mucous membranes of her nose or her mouth. You decide that she died of inhalation of superheated gases, but there's no internal injury? Has that happened? So this was not a declaration that was made by local police. And I'm not hating or bashing on local police. I'm just saying that local police may not have as much, they have not had as many encounters with murder and death, and maybe they're not as experienced with some of the subtleties of crime scenes or even, suicide. But certainly, the certainly the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, they knew, correct? It so there's a problem here, and her son knew there was a problem. Her son has been begging for help. He was disrespected. They talked to him in a terrible way, laughed at him even. And then Amanda Bearden goes on to her cousin's YouTube channel for an interview that was, can we just be honest, only just 3 degrees north of bizarre. Why then? That's the next question, isn't it? That is the next question. All things being equal, we've got now a world-renowned physician and medical examiner, a forensic pathologist, perhaps the finest forensic pathologist in all of history, and he has gotten his hands on the original autopsy, and he has said, frankly, I'm really surprised by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. This is not consistent with what I know about them. This is very interesting, y'all. This is very interesting. So if you don't know a lot about the case, Collier went missing on September the 10th. She, right before she went missing, she sent a Venmo payment to her daughter Amanda for $2,385 with a cryptic message. They are not going to let me go, love you. They are not going to let. The problem is that we saw a security camera. It doesn't appear that she's with anybody. She gets out of a car and she goes in and she buys some bizarre things. And then she gets in the car to leave. And there's some unusual movements of the car. Absolutely unusual movements. And there's some other cars in the parking lot that are also being a little bit shady. And then she's found just literal miles from this location. The daughter shows up there before her body's even found. The cops are looking for her. The cops have found the car. They're now looking for Debbie. They're out in the woods. The daughter shows up, and what does she do? Is she confused? Just 1 minute. Sorry about that. Is she confused? Is she looking around saying, why is my mom here? What business would she have to be parked here? This is so weird. No, she's not doing any of that. She's attacking the one news crew, the local newspaper that responded to the police scanner. She's yelling at them. Get away, leave. Don't report this. You don't need to be here. Go, get away. Now, the husband, Steve Collier, he's standing there kind of like, okay, this is weird. What's happening here? What's my wife doing out in the woods? Why are we here? He's standing, he's even got an umbrella that he's standing under. Would a man who knew his wife was dead or hurt or missing, would that man be just casually with an umbrella watching the police with a look of curiosity on his face? Or might he too be kind of maybe in defense mode, knowing what they're about to find? But he wasn't. you look at the video, he really is watching them like, okay, this is very strange. What's going on here? But not Amanda. Amanda was immediately attacking people, the press. Immediately in hysterics. Immediately. And she was the proud recipient of the $2,000 plus. Now, this area where they found her car was about 60 miles north of her home, and she seemingly had no connection to this place. Now, the online sleuths, there were a lot of people that made, tried to find some explanation for why she may have been there. Her husband was working the football game at the university, and so he was parking cars and whatnot. She was dressed as if she was going to the game. And I kind of even said, I made a video at the time, that the items that she purchased, you could have been for tailgating, right? Like, this messaging is being sent of, I'm going to go to the football game, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't possible. Wasn't possible because at the time all this was happening, the ball game was, either underway or just ending. So to find out now that Debbie Collier was burned, 90% of her total body surface was burned, and there was no damage nor soot in her lungs, basically eliminating the likelihood that she is alive, even if unconscious, but that she is alive in any way at the time that she is on fire. Dr. Baden addressed this issue of the inhalation of fumes and whatnot, and he said that if some people might try to make the case and say, well, the reason that she didn't have any damage to her lungs, she was alive, but she didn't have any damage to her lungs, was because the wind blew the noxious fumes away. The wind blew the heat away before she inhaled. Well, if it's a flash fire, doesn't it have to be hurricane force winds to be able to do that? That just doesn't fit with their official storyline that they gave us. So Dr. Baden is even, he's so disturbed by this, he even kind of said, he outright said, I don't think the medical examiner even knows what forensic pathology is. I don't think he even knows what he's doing. Now, Dr. Baden did address the level of hydrocodone that was in Debbie Collier's system. She had a back injury. She had a long-standing back injury. And it is possible that she had been taking these drugs for many years, in a way to continue her life, to be able to go to work, to be able to work out or go to physical therapy. I think a lot of time these drugs get, they're definitely drugs of abuse. They definitely carry with them a high addiction potential. But there's also many, many people that are able to take this particular type of drug in the proper therapeutic dose and not be intoxicated or affected by the drug as they go through their day, right? And so it's possible that she had been on this medication for a while and had developed physical tolerance to it. And so her doctor had, titrated her up, and maybe her dose seemed a bit high for like me or you, people that don't take this medicine every day. It doesn't take much of it to do its job. But if you've been taking it every day for 20 years, then maybe you are taking more than what would be normal, let's say, after a surgery. So she did have a higher level dose in her system, but it wasn't really considered big enough that it would have created an overdose, right? And that's kind of the question, because they're talking about the hydrocodone intoxication and the inhalation of noxious gases, and that's how she killed herself. But in truth, it really wasn't enough to have killed her. And if she doesn't have burns in her esophagus or mucous membranes, if she doesn't have soot deposited in her lungs, then exactly how did she inhale noxious fumes? So, Baden said that according to Debbie Collier's toxicology report, less than half of people would die if they had those levels of hydrocodone that she had in her system. But if you're a person that you've taken it every day, it wouldn't be enough to even make you intoxicated. He did speculate if she died of an overdose, then the question would remain, how the hell did the fire get started? And how the hell do you have a fire start when the person is dead and the fire is severe enough that it burns 90% of your body, but not the rest of the forest? If she had died of an overdose and then there was a fire in the aftermath, or a resulting fire. Let's say that when she died, she knocked over the gasoline canister and ignited a flash fire. Let's say that happened. Well, if that's the case, then her cause of death would have been hydrocodone overdose with post-mortem fire injuries. So none of this makes sense. And remember, this is a premier forensic pathologist, world renowned, who is calling out GBI. He's calling them out publicly. He's saying, dudes, what the hell were you thinking? So, the fact that Collier was found naked is another reason that he doesn't support this notion of suicide. He said, you usually need clothing in order to set yourself on fire. Well, that's fairly logical, isn't it? You need your clothes to be able to catch yourself on fire. The police said that she was naked that she was partially naked when she was discovered. But the autopsy notes there were charred remnants of clothing present in the distribution of the lower torso. Police say Collier was alone in the woods when she killed herself, but they have no proof for that statement at all. Dr. Baden said that if she died before the fire, then doesn't that mean there has to be at least one other person with her? And I feel like she was dead before she left that parking lot. The way that car stopped in just haphazardly, I think that was kind of the moment. And I think there might have been a couple of people with them. And they pulled in an area where they could take her out of the car and carry her back in there, cover her, douse her body with gasoline, and at the very least, the goal of the fire was to take the DNA evidence off of her. I mean, we can agree it might be a little strange if, let's say, she had DNA evidence from, I don't know, maybe one of Amanda Bearden's boyfriends or friends. That would be weird, right? no reason for Amanda Bearden to be half naked and have the DNA of a possible friend or boyfriend all over her chest. That wouldn't be good, would it? So I have to wonder, I have to wonder if, now at this point too, what do you do about it, right? I mean, the brother's trying to get help. Let's see, the medical examiner at the GBI admits they did not come to the conclusion that Collier killed herself by themselves. In the autopsy report, it says investigation by law enforcement revealed circumstances consistent with a self-intentioned act. And the medical examiner from the GBI said that local police told him it was a suicide. We're not just rubber stamps for the police, but some people think we are, said Baden. And in this case, it looks like they were. I guess that would bring up a really great live. If someone had access to a medical examiner, any forensic pathologist, any medical examiner, and have this conversation on who is actually making this determination. Like, how we always kind of think the medical examiner is the one. I mean, isn't that their job, is to collect information and knowledge and make a determination on cause of death and manner of death? Isn't that what they're supposed to do? And if that were the case, then they're going to have toxicology reports. They're going to have the police investigation and the data points that have been collected by the police. They're going to have the autopsy information, and then the police examiner, aren't they supposed to give manner of death and cause of death, time of death if possible, right? So how is it that you have you have a medical examiner who is just accepting from the police, no, really, it was a suicide. It was a suicide. We've uncovered circumstances consistent with a self-intentioned act. Well, isn't the medical examiner going to go, I don't give a damn if she wrote 50 letters to every person that she's ever known saying, I'm going to kill myself, yada, 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 yada. She didn't have any soot in her lungs. She did not have any burns in her mucous membranes of her nose and her mouth, her throat. And the level of hydrocodone in her system wasn't even really sufficient to kill her, knowing that she has a long-standing chronic back pain problem. Long history of using this particular class medication. Do the police have the ability to just ignore what the medical examiner is saying? This is, I don't know. What do y'all think? Like, if Habersham, so the sheriff's department investigated for 2 months. There was never, not once, a official suspect, but they did say that Amanda Bearden was of interest. So, and then, there were a lot of us that the boyfriend is, the boyfriend's a problem, right? So Cali Connect says there are 2 gangs in Georgia known for burning people. The Ghost Face Gang and Gangster Decibels. Hey, Mark. Welcome. It's good to see you. So Mark Gillespie, and he's a guy in the know. I mean, this is his, domain, area of expertise. Not as a pathologist, but in law enforcement or investigation. Medical examiner has the final say. So what do you think, Mark? What happened with this? It's crazy, isn't it? So Andrew's mother, when she got arrested, she got arrested for dealing, and she, hers was like a 3 strikes, you're out. They threw away the key. She's gone to the big house forever, I guess. The day of her arrest, which was a setup, right? The day of her arrest, it was at a Dollar General, I think. So I thought that it was very interesting that that it both happened at a dollar store an hour out of town. I just thought, I mean, that's obviously not a kiss of death, but it's a curious pattern, right? It's odd. I think we know that the daughter and the boyfriend had drug problems, and her sending that large amount of money to her daughter would imply. Now, I'm highly skeptical that Deborah sent that money of her own free will. Let me just say that. It's my opinion that it just doesn't seem likely, right? But all of these things together do kind of say maybe there's some drug involvement, right? Maybe owing money, or somebody stole supply they were supposed to sell, or something like that, right? But now we find out that the cops apparently just told the medical examiner how it was going to be. And the medical examiner completely disregarded 2 critical facts. One, there's no evidence that she ever inhaled anything. And that was their cause of death. Number 2, they commented on the level of hydrocodone in her system, but she had a long-standing back injury, and with tolerance, it's highly possible that it was a normal dose for her, that she wasn't intoxicated, that she wasn't overdosing. And if they thought she had overdosed, then the cause of death would have been hydrocodone overdose with post-mortem, fire exposure, right? So it's really, it's pretty, Now, do y'all remember the wig? Do y'all remember the wig? There are a lot of people, the son of Debbie Collier included, who say, that was not my mom. That's not my mom. I'm watching, and that's not my mom. Amanda Bearden says, oh yeah, it's my mom. It's my mom. And the cops all love me. And I don't know what kind of problem my brother's having with the cops, but they love me. I don't know, FBI. You might want to come in and look at that good old boy Georgia thing going on, because something is rotten in Georgia. All right. So do you think I'm making too much of this fact that there was no evidence of fire inhalation or heated air or soot? Am I making too big of a deal out of that? Or is this sort of and no pun intended here, I promise, is this a smoking gun that says something is not okay in Habersham County? If you think this deserves some attention from the feds, put a 1. If you think this is perfectly understandable, put a 2. Just curious. Hey, Cinnamon Hot Hot. Hey, Martin. How many people commit suicide in this manner? Martin, we don't even really know. Hey, Save Robbie. I haven't seen you in a long time. Good to see you. Okay, so it warrants some, maybe the feds need to come in and take a look at what's going on in Habersham County. I agree. This is terrible. You've got Andrew's mother. Her story is rather, her arrest, the facts surrounding her arrest were questionable. Sometimes I even thought, when this thing was first going on, sometimes I would even think, it would occur to me that maybe Andrew's mother held Debbie Collier responsible for her arrest. That maybe Debbie, or maybe she thought that Debbie had exposed her, had turned her in, had told the cops where she was going to be to make this drug deal, and that this was payback for what happened, right? So I thought about that, but this goes beyond this new information, that they literally just ignored the reality of the body. They ignored the autopsy. They just ignored it. That's something else. That is definitely something else. Daughter is maybe a confidential informant. I don't know, but remember the daughter and Andrew come back in town, and within, within 36 hours, Debbie Collier's dead. There's no coincidence in, murder. It is so weird that no one was charged. No one was charged, and the investigation only lasted 2 months. How long did they investigate Barry Morphew? Hell, Barry Morphew continues to be investigated. How long did it take for them to finally get Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell? What about the California case, the young co-ed that was killed? These investigations can go on for years. 2 months? 2 months for a woman, a middle-aged woman, leading a life of very low exposure to danger. Her lifestyle in no way places her in contact with organized crime or dangerous type of people. And she ends up an hour away from home in the middle of the woods, half naked and burned, holding on to a tree trunk 4 inches in diameter, which makes me think the death was a traumatic one, that she was kind of grasping for help. It's very strange to me. And Mark Gillespie, like I said, and he knows, and he says it's definitely odd. The neighbor always talked about how he would hear fighting from the house even before the daughter got there. I'm thinking it's her husband that is responsible. Seems like she was dead. Well, yeah, Martin. I think in light of Dr. Bodden coming out, he actually secured the official autopsy, and there's no indication. No burn, no soot, nothing, no bubbling, nothing. And listen to this. How do you get burned? 90% of your total body surface burned, but you didn't inhale, not even enough to put a blister in your nose? No way. No way. Nope, that didn't happen. She was dead when she was on fire. And remember the crime scene. She was on fire, but the surrounding woods were not. Like she was doused in gasoline. It was raining, so the surrounding stuff didn't ignite. But if the goal was simply to just get rid of any potential DNA, then that was achieved with the burning, right? And remember, the press conference investigator would say it would be long going. No, it was 2 months. It's crazy. I'm only awake to get my chihuahua out to go potty. -6. -6, and you guys are having a blizzard, say Robbie. Be warm. It's going to be cold out there. You're a good fur daddy. So good for you. All right. So hi, Hilariat. Welcome. Definitely a cover up. Yeah, it definitely, you got to remember there's a son out there and he's really hurting and he really wants someone to help him. He knows this isn't right. He knows this isn't right. And the sheriff laughed at him, disregarded him. Amanda Bearden mocked him, saying that the cops just love her. They just love her. So there's something rotten in Georgia. There's no doubt about it. I think the feds need to come in and take a close look at what went on, because they've got, it does sound like an organized crime deal. And listen, what are we watching in the Murdaugh case? This trial, it is going to, I think it's going to end up being a mistrial. I didn't believe that before, but because it has become so chaotic, and they're down to 2 jurors. They have 2 alternate jurors, y'all. 2. Did you see the smile on Alec Murdaugh's face when they got the bomb threat? Who saw it? If you saw Alec Murdaugh smile when they got the bomb threat, put a 1. If you didn't, then maybe that's what I'll do. What's the day? Thursday. Tomorrow, Friday, I'll put that video up and we can talk about it. But when he's told, that there was a bomb threat, they had to leave the courthouse, he smiled. He smiled. Now, most of us, you're not going to panic, of course, right? But you'd be like, really? Damn. You mean we got to stop and go outside? Damn. You wouldn't have been like freaking out and all, worried. Well, I guess some people might, but my reaction would have just been irritation, because it's silly, right? It's not real. But his was to smile. And I thought, golly, Alec, what's that about? Why you grinning? Like a damn possum. What's going on there? And so I've been giving it some thought. Well, here we are now. We just started the defense's case, and we've got 2 alternate jurors left. Well, if you were on the jury and you knew the neighborhood and that there was gossip about the Murdaughs and organized crime, and now you're sitting on that jury and now there's a bomb threat that gets called in, would that make you feel perhaps a little scared? Would you take that as a possible threat? Like, we're watching y'all. You better be careful what you're doing here. How many people have to get COVID? How is it that someone just says, hey, judge, hey, sorry, I gotta go to the doctor today, man. That's how it is. Gotta go. Y'all have fun. They're down to 2 alternate jurors. Oh yeah, he was happy. He smiled. It was real smile. It was a real smile. So, we'll see how it goes. What did you guys think about Buster? Prince Buster, firstborn, heir to the throne. Do we like Buster, or were we uncomfortable with Buster? It does, Martin. It's not working, is it? It's not. Look at Nicholas Cruz. Of any case that we have ever talked about in 15 years of true crime, have you ever seen a case more deserving of the death penalty? Ever? How did that one juror arrive at the idea that this guy, that there were redeeming qualities about him and he didn't deserve the death penalty? How? It was crazy. Those poor parents were re-victimized. That was one of the most emotionally draining courtroom situations I've ever watched. It was terrible. Buster chewing on his nails. He's got a peculiar way of scratching the orbital cavity around his eye. It's always his left eye. No emotion, very well rehearsed. You know what, Hilarious? I haven't seen any emotion from him at all, whether he's on the stand or sitting in the gallery. He just doesn't seem. He doesn't seem to change his emotion. The difference that I noticed is that as a member of the gallery where he's just watching the proceedings, he often has a bit of a smile, very subtle, right? You know how they talk about resting bitch face? Well, he's kind of got resting not smirk, because I don't want to say it's not negative, but he kind of has a natural tendency, I think, or he's just hyper aware of the cameras, right? But he's always got like this just a hint of a smile, correct? And I didn't really see the smile when he was on the stand, but he definitely has some tells, one of which is leaving his mouth hanging open. And I felt like in the moments where he would answer a question, his mouth would be partially open. Those might have been times where he might not have been specific about, or maybe he was being a little too broad with his answers, or taking some creative liberty with his answers. Yes, Mr. Ball was an excellent witness. Yes. Have you watched The Murdaugh on Netflix? No. Sundown Farms. I am not having fun right now in my real life. There's not been a lot of leisure television watching for me. Yeah, things have not been good right now. So I watched the trial when I put it on double time when I get off work, and while I'm going to sleep, I listen to the trial. So I've been able to, see all of that. But no TV watching time, no YouTube time. Have you? Let's see. It is terrible. I feel victimized myself with all the deception. I don't feel safe in this world. It's scary. Hey, Kate, welcome. Yeah, Kelly, it. I do think in this world that we live in with the 24-hour news cycle, I think it's healthy to limit your exposure to all of the politics right now. It's very bad. This thing with Ukraine, most people feel very manipulated, and we don't have any way of knowing what's right or wrong. We know what our beliefs are, but there's no absolute. None of us are in a position to get truth. We're just at the mercy of what's being reported. So we don't have that, and it does seem like socially there's an awful lot of violence, random, unusual types of attacks where people will walk up to someone who has their back turned and just knock the hell out of them. Cheap shots, is what we used to call it. And then they get a pass, I guess, because race relations are not good right now, but I do think if you spend a lot of time watching that, I think it'd be difficult to manage, but we've been through these times before, Kelly. This is not really, I know it feels unique right now. I know it feels odd, but these times have happened before in history where it seemed like there were school shootings all the time and then magically they end, so I don't know. I don't keep the news on. I'm not one of these people that turns on like CNN or Fox or anything and let it play ad nauseum. I prioritize my own mental health needs. I make sure that I have, I do something happy every day, try to get a little bit of exercise to burn off extra energy, because anxiety is just energy, right? So burning off some of that energy helps control your anxiety, and having hobbies that you enjoy, like that's why I have this whole YouTube thing, and I also play video games and I play the guitar, and so try to don't watch all the news, all the stuff. Just kind of take a step back, and even in this particular type of community that we're all in, where we focus on true crime, and it can be a bit overwhelming to be faced with the reality of human nature. I mean, I think it doesn't take much to watch these friends of Alec Murdaugh, who had been friends with him since they were kids. Chris trusted him with his whole heart and soul, and he is traumatized by the fact that Murdaugh created such a level of betrayal, not only to him but to so many people professionally, but to him personally as his best friend. He was just floored. And I think he's still reeling from it. I'm working on a video to put out. I'm hoping I'll have it finished Friday evening. But I'm working on a video that highlights Alec's detachment, disregard for the people that he's harmed, even disdain for the people at the law firm and his friends that have had real losses because of him. They have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars of their own cash because they're paying back all of the settlements that Murdaugh stole. And he is disdainful, he's dismissive of their trauma. You know, he's what you would think of when you read about a true narcissist. I mean, narcissists they believe they're special. They know that they're flawed and that they don't measure up, and so they build up this mask to hide that. And the part of that mask is adopting this belief that I'm so special, I'm destined for greatness, even though they may not ever really do anything to earn that greatness. And then when they get revealed, when they get called out on it, they double down and they'll go to the ends of the earth to hide the removal of the mask. And I thought that today, the prosecutor did a great job of showing, oh, here we are again. Alec Murdaugh is down for the count. He's about to be revealed yet again. And now we got another tragedy. He hit the nail on the head, man. Both times, the shooting of Maggie and Paul, and then the fake suicide against, or not suicide, but when he wanted to die and he asked Uncle Eddie to shoot him. Both of those occurred during periods of time where he was about to be revealed. The financial crimes. That is consistent with what we see with narcissism and the dangerous nature that emerges when they are about to be exposed. So he does give a really great impression of a malignant narcissist. Yeah, there's disdain. Absolutely, Kathy. And welcome. Howdy, Kathy. How the hell you doing, girl? Hey, Glory Dancer. I'm so glad they're looking at this again. I never could accept that it was suicide. So many, and including Glory, her own son. He came out and said that this is not right. And he said he had doubts that was his mother in the dollar store video. I demonstrated the wig, the hat. Y'all remember that? I showed you. No, that I don't believe not for a minute that was even a woman. It was somebody dressed up to look like a woman. I kind of got that feeling, Kelly. I kind of did. Yeah. I wonder if anybody else did. Hey, Day Tripper. Day Tripper, a one-way ticket, yeah. I love the Beatles. Gotta catch up on the replays. So glad you're here this morning. Yeah, my life is upside down right now, Day Tripper. It's terrible. It really, I'm not kidding. I'm unloading on y'all. Ugh, things are not good right now. Not good. Alec is a perfect narcissist example because after he acts violently, he rocks and gets pitiful, commanding sympathy. You know what I thought, Kate? I would love to know if anyone had evidence of Alec rocking before he went to detox and rehab in Florida. Because I'm going to bet that he went to detox and rehab there, and he was watching and he saw other people rocking, legitimately having an anxiety disorder, legitimately stemming by rocking and causing themselves to relax, correct? He learned to do that. He thinks that makes him a sympathetic figure. drug addicts, what they will do to keep their habit. Alec stole and murdered to protect his. Martin, can we believe 50,000 a week on pills? I don't know if I can believe that. Here's the reason why. What about his damn liver? The man wouldn't have been able, he wouldn't have been walking. He would have been in liver failure if he's taking that many pills a week. I really feel like there's organized crime and they were moving drugs. I mean, I think he was using too. I think he probably was addicted. I think he, but $50,000, $200,000 a month. Why was his liver working? Hang in there, shot. Alec is learning and acting the part. I think it's more than drugs with Alec. I do too, Kelly. I feel like there's a lot going on in the low country. I think there's a lot of people getting rich on drugs. Definitely selling. Yes, thank you, Diamond Paw. $50,000 a week. His liver would be bleeding, and he would be sleeping all the time. He'd be drooling out of the sides of his mouth, right? Offshore account. Well, and that's the next thing. And Prince Buster, if you ever run across this video, you may want to think about this. For the rest of Buster's life, damn well they're going to be watching him. They're going to be watching him for what is his yearly income and how much money is he spending. Is he getting new race boats? Is he taking exotic deep sea fishing trips weekly? Is he buying $1 million home? Like, how's old Buster living? Is it in line with his income? Or does he seem to have an alternative income stream, like maybe some gold buried somewhere around, Granny's house? I think some of those lawyers' friends are in it up to their necks, allegedly. Well, there's been some talk. There's a lot of people that say this is it's the good old boy system. How can you be a system of one? A system requires multiple moving parts, right? Look for an email referencing manner of death determination. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. Appreciate all the help I can get. Trust me. God. Even, I even have to laugh when I look at my life and see. Yeah, it's just, one of those things. Let's see. Oh my God, Kyle Rittenhouse has been sued again. That's another thing I don't understand. The man is literally running in the middle of the street away from an angry mob. What did they want him to do? Stand there and just get the hell beaten out of him? I'm telling you, the world is a crazy place. And of all the things going wrong in my life, now I find out my Zazzle Plus membership has expired. That is just great. I do love Zazzle. I don't see the email, Mark. Which email address did you send it to? Where is it? Ooh. Now I'm getting sleepy because the sun's coming up. I can drop my email, Seagate. I would be happy. Oh, not Seagate. Who said that? Day Tripper. Yes, I will. Right here. Oh, thank you, Mark. Okay, good. Thank you. I'll keep an eye on it today. Okay, Day Tripper. There's my email. Yeah, thank you so much, Mark. That would be really interesting. I appreciate it. On the body cam when Alec says it's a long story. Yeah, Zazzle is it's one of those services where you can order items and you can like design the decor, the aesthetic. So like I have a bunch of spiral notebooks that have my, that I designed the cover of it. It's a terrific waste of money, but it makes your office pretty. So hey Rochelle, welcome. I'm glad you caught us too. You're at work. Get done at 7. Yeah, I probably need to end this live so I can take a nap before I have to get up for work. Yeah, t-shirts, absolutely, Elizabeth. Yep. First words to an emergency crew on the scene. It's a long story. And isn't that peculiar, right? The idea that you've just experienced absolutely hands down what could be the most horrifying moment of anyone's life. Not just that one of your beloved die. I mean, that's horrible in the best of circumstances. But it's both your mate and your child, and they've been shot to death like it's damn Afghanistan war zone. I mean, this is horrifying, right? This is the worst possible circumstances. This guy should have been like, jelly on the ground, not wanting to tell a story. That's highly suspect. No, he's got a lot of problems. I think most people agree he was pushed to the limit, and it does look like he did the unthinkable. And you can't ignore the fact that when Paul and Maggie died, the lawsuits against Buster ended. That was it. It's fairly chilling. I've said I think that he held Paul responsible. I think that in his warped mind, and he, especially if he's on the drugs and stuff, in his warped mind, he believed he would be able. I think he'd been stealing for years. The guy on the stand today said that they just found another client that they're having to pay back money, and this is they're going to find out. I believe in my heart they're going to find out he has been doing this for years. I believe it in my heart. I think he looks for those clients that maybe they lack sophistication and they don't really know how to follow up and check on things themselves, and they put all of their faith in their attorneys. They put all their trust in attorneys. And so they may have gotten like $1 million settlement, but Alec would say, "Oh, we did great, man. We got you $200,000. Isn't that super?" And then they're like, "Oh my God, $200,000. That's more money than I've ever seen in my life." And then guess who walks away with the other $800,000? Cunning was the word that was used today on the stand. Oh, sure, Seagate. Yeah, Prince Buster, the acorn doesn't fall far from the tree, right? So yeah, I think that probably he had been doing this a very long time. He's described as not being a particularly good attorney. He wasn't particularly well versed in the law. Hell, he had all these years he was still practicing general law. He hadn't even developed a specialty. But what he did have, he was that Clinton thing, really high in social intelligence, where he could interpersonal, he could watch a room and tell what was motivating someone, how they were reacting, and what he was highly effective at manipulating others. You've heard him on the phone, the aw gee, aw shucks, man. He's got that whole demeanor going on of, oh, just, I just want to be your friend. Isn't that funny? I just let me know how I can help you, man. I'm right here for you. Another person who does that is old Corn Pop. Come on, man. It's like, really, Joe? You're sitting on a dynasty, buddy. You don't talk like that, and we all know you don't talk like that. But it's a manipulative tactic to get people to trust you and to lower their guard, and I think he was just really good at finding his potential victims, people a little less sophisticated that had stumbled upon tragedy, and they would get a settlement, and he would take the largest portion of it. And as long as they thought they got something, then they were none the wiser, right? They're gonna find out it was going on a long time. And I think that when the boat wreck happened and Mallory Beach was killed, that put scrutiny on Alec's money. And that was it. That's what brought down the House of Cards, was the lawsuits stemming from the death of Mallory Beach. I think that's why he blamed Paul. I think he blamed the downfall of the family financially and everything. It was all Paul's fault. And Paul had taken his pills, remember? Paul had stolen his drugs too. And Maggie didn't want him on drugs. So maybe, I really believe he had a temper tantrum. He killed Paul because he blamed Paul. And then he had to shut up Maggie because otherwise she would tell that he's the one that killed her or killed him. Yes, the photos, it was a group text message, and it happened while after the 911 call, and he was waiting for them to arrive. He's checking like group messages. Yeah, and then and that's the other one, Stephen Smith. That investigation is open. The death of the housekeeper is very suspicious. Yep, agreed, 100%. I think the death of the father is suspicious too. With the death of Paul and Maggie, and then Grandpa dies. It's inheritance. Yeah, he would have blamed Paul 100% for everything. Downfall of the House of Murdaugh by Edgar Allan Poe. I'll have to watch it, thing one. Like I said, I have zero free time right now. I've got family stuff going on and work stuff. I'm working a lot of hours, and yeah. And listen, here's the deal. I'm thinking, you know what? I got to take some vacation. I need some vacation. So I pull up my schedule to figure out how to, the best time, to take a few days. I can't find a time because I can't find a day that is not really critical for me to do that day. Anyway, I don't need to dump on y'all. But that is, All right. I've missed being here too, Yvette. Thank you so much. This is what I like to do for fun. But things have been very difficult. Family and work. It's very difficult right now. And it's one of those things that you're dealing with there's a problem that I have to deal with. And I don't know what I'm going to do, so that makes it harder. But, Sundown Farms, thank you so much. That makes me happy. Thank you. So, all right, people. I thought you had one less job so you would have more time for your family. Yes, Rochelle, you would be correct. But, so let me put it this way. You know how for a long time you're the child and you have parents and then you grow up, and then at some point there's a switch over, right? Where now you're not the child anymore. Now you're the adult, and it's the parent that maybe, needs a little bit more time and taken care of, than otherwise needed. And, it's got decisions to be made, things to do, right? Sucks the life out of joy. There's no joy right now. No, I'm telling you flat up, I own it. No joy. No joy, just I love my job. So my job is actually it's kind of a double-edged sword, but I love my work. I love what I do, and that I like that. The problem is that I really need some extra time to deal with this other set of problems that's going on, but I have to work. So I'm really just irritated, and I'm, when there's something really bad happening that's outside of your control and you don't know what to do about it, that's another thing. And that's what I said. I need to take a week off, deal with the two problems at hand, and then everything's okay. But I don't know how I could take a week off. No, but anyway, that's yep. Seagate, yeah. Oh, thank you, Martin. Yeah, everybody's got it, troubles, right? And look right there, Fancy Nancy's got the same issue. See, Fancy Nancy immediately, just by that little bit I said, kind of cryptic, but Fancy Nancy, if she's going through what I'm going through, we're communicating. She knows exactly what is happening. And what the hell do you do about it, right, Nancy? Like, on the one hand, you know what you have to do. But then on the other hand, you're like, oh my God, this is going to be so difficult. That exactly, Sundown Farms. Yes, exactly. That's that's it. That's the problem. Yep. Hi, Alma. Well, I'm not an early bird. Believe it or not, I haven't slept all night. Thank you, Yvette. Thank you so much. So I'm going to end this so I can sleep. I think I can sleep 5:30, 6:30, 7:30. I can sleep for 3 hours. So maybe I'll be able to sleep now that I kind of talked. I've just been tossing and turning, up and down, up and down, up and down all night. Toss and turn, toss and turn, toss and turn. 3:30 in Los Angeles. I'm also having a hard time sleeping. It's so irritating, isn't it? It's so frustrating. Yep. I know. I'm sorry, Alma. Well, so my video, so I just talked about Debbie Collier for about an hour, Alma. So maybe turn the sound down really low, and maybe that'll help you go to sleep. Okay. Go to my happy place. My happy place is Colorado, Martin. Either Colorado or Disney World, Magic Kingdom. I can't do it. I don't have any time. And even if I had the time, I have to go to help somebody else. Who's your hippie? Give it to God and he will give you peace. That is a very good suggestion. My dad had a little sign that he kept up over his mantle in his. He had a fireplace in his office, and I have a mantle over it, and it said, "Hello." Let's see, what was it? It said, "Hello, God. Hello, this is God. Today I'll be taking care of all the problems." Yeah, so that's true. Yeah, the Debbie Collier case is a very tragic, terrible situation, and frankly, I think that Amanda needs to be a little bit more forthcoming with her brother. She needs to have a conversation with her brother, and I think the feds need to come in and look at Habersham County and see what's going on there. I really do. Right, Alma. That, yeah. So money doesn't buy happiness, but it definitely makes it easier to deal with the misery. That's exactly true. So we need an AK Jules meetup in Colorado. That would be completely off the hook fun. Fun, fun, fun. Yes, I'm glad she's being looked at again too. And I'm really glad that the Stephen Smith case got reopened. And that's got to be making Buster a little bit nervous, based on the rumors, you know. Give it to God and let it go. I know I need to do that, but you know, I know I need to. You're right. It's just, you know, there is a problem that is, it's a real problem. There's got to be a solution, and it's not going to be. It's going to be unpleasant, you know. And I'm angry that it happened, that the situation is happening or has happened. And I think it's going to be messy, and it's going to be, ugh, God. Anyway, I'm going to try and sleep for about 3 hours before I have to work. And then the next thing, after I finish working today, I gotta find a few days. I gotta take some time off. at least, at least it's one of those things. At least if I had some, if I knew I had some time off, then that would at least free up some of my thoughts to like focus on work, or to focus, or even just to make a YouTube video. But the way it is right now, I'm divided up too many directions. Money isn't going to help our world. We need integrity, more people to fight. It's not easy. It's the right thing to do. Agreed, Kelly. Yeah, day tripper. It's very difficult. It really is. Thank you, Hoosier. Thank you, Kate. Can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. Well, you know what, Martin? I'm about to break some eggs. It's not going to be fun. There's... Yes, we're making omelets, Martin. And this omelet's going to have a little bit of everything. It's going to have some ham and onions and cheese, maybe some sausage. It's going to be yummy. But, ooh, it's going to be very emotional in the beginning. No! Oh, Lord, Justice Jane. No. No, everything's great with Bill. That doesn't, no. Nothing related to, no. Nothing related to Bill. If anyone can best problem solve to you, try to rearrange work. Yeah, I need to do that. And like I said earlier, about 2 a.m., I thought, you know what, this is ridiculous. I'm just going to figure out a way, and I'm going to put in for some vacation time. And then that just made it worse, because when I looked at my schedule, I was like, okay, when? Like, that's not happening. So, so then that just made me mad again, so. Hey, Peachy. I know, Peachy. But, what we know and what we do is always two different things, isn't it? But to be fair, it is getting to that, it is getting to that point where, how you get occasionally, how does my daughter say it? You get into flight mode. Yeah, good term, right? I'm entering flight mode. I'm kind of getting to that point where I'm ready to go, you know what? I'm just going to retire. I'm just not going to work at all. I'm just going to be a lady of leisure. I kind of thought, but that's not real, because I love my work, but I got some real family issues that there has to be, it's not sustainable, and there has to be a solution, and it's going to be difficult. And so I feel distracted, and I do need some time off. I really do. I'm in airplane mode. Yes. So we'll see how it turns out. You can retire if you move to Mexico. I live comfortably with $500 a month. Wow. That sounds nice. I love Honduras. I love Rotan. Tell Bill that my sister made Bill's banana pudding and loved it. Ah, nice, thing one. I'll let him know. Yes. That's probably what, when he comes home today, he's been traveling for work. But when he gets home, I'm probably going to say, will you make some banana pudding, please? Help me feel better while I deal with these problems. before I burn down the house and quit my job and run away forever to the mountains. I'm reaching that point where I'm just thinking, you know, a tent and a mountain sounds really good right now. Like I'll just live on pine cones and nuts and that's all. But it wouldn't take very long. I'd be really uncomfortable because I like hot baths every day. So I have great fantasies of being, you know, Jeremiah Johnson, mountain man, but the reality is that I'm a comfort queen. There are a lot of Americans retired to Costa Rica. Cambodia. Fun in Cambodia. And it's beautiful too. Mom is buying an apartment in Dominican Republic. Yay! That's so exciting. Puerto Rico too. Puerto Rico would be a good place to retire to, wouldn't it? I know, Justice Jane. I have to keep reminding myself of that. I'm weary. I'm truly. The problem is one that is. The level of anger is just. It's just unbelievable. Anyway. Hey, backwoods Georgia girl, how are you doing? Pine cones aren't as bad as they sound. There you go. Have you seen the stuff with Debbie Collier backwoods? My goodness, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation dropped the ball. Yes, I would like to rough it, but you know, it needs to be glamping, right? It needs to be glamorous. It is an insurmountable issue, Kate. It is. It's so complicated because it's long. It's been a long. Um, how do I say this? It's one of those situations where I knew I should step in and take over, but I didn't for a lot of reasons. And now at this point, in just utter and complete disbelief, and I'm kicking myself in the butt because I didn't step in like I knew I should have been and didn't. And I'm just amazed. I'm just in shock. Oh well. Hell's bells. The government is pretty corrupt out here. The good old South, right? No, no big ups. It was not a suicide. That they Michael Baden got a copy of the autopsy. Michael Baden got a copy of the autopsy, and the cause of death did not match the evidence, the condition of the body. So, it looks like the local police told the medical examiner how it was going to be, instead of the medical examiner following the condition of the body. A dirty South. There you go, Georgia girl. Yep. No, she wasn't hung, Alma. She was lying down. She was not hung from a tree. She was on the floor of the forest in a ravine. Dirty South. I hope so, big ups. The sun is trying to get it open. Ugh. All right, people, I gotta go to sleep. I'm gonna take me a nap before work. Hopefully I'll be able to fall asleep now that I, got out of the whole rocking and rolling, up and down and tossing and turning mode. I am yawning, so I'm hoping I'll be able to sleep. That app, thank you, Kate. Yes, at this point now, I've got knowledge, right? And yeah, so the hesitation that is not there anymore. I know now what I have to do. So yeah, probably gonna include attorneys, Martin. It's gonna not it yeah it this is ugh bad. Yuck. I can't get over running over pigeon. Oh, right. Not absolutely, Alma. Sometimes things just, we can't shake it, right? Lean on Jesus. Thank you, Justice. I appreciate your words of encouragement too, because I know that I should turn it over to God and focus on the here and now, what I need to accomplish, and I know that, but it's very hard to do when you're in the middle of it. It's hard to remember that, when you're in the middle of it. So I appreciate that. I do. Thank you, Martin. I'm just glad you were here. It's nice talking to you. They need to cut these mass shooters. The shooting is just crazy. Yeah, I'm over it. It's horrifying. I don't know what's wrong. The shootings and these blind attacks that they've started doing now. What's wrong with these people? They're not normal. They are not normal people. All right, peeps. I have got to try to get a nap because I do have to work today. 9 hours. It's gonna be long, but you know me. I'll do great. And you guys have a wonderful day. And try to dig into the whole Debbie Collier thing and see what you can find out, and maybe we'll do live tomorrow. Okay. All right, thanks for listening. I appreciate y'all. Please do a thumbs up, hit subscribe button, and if you let the video play all the way through when you're sleeping at night, then that helps the channel. All right, y'all have a good Thursday.